Picture this. It's 2019. A young woman rolls up to the WWE Performance Center. She has a famous last name, one that screams Hollywood royalty. She has a modeling portfolio that could grace the cover of any glossy magazine. What she doesn't have? A single professional wrestling match on her resume. Not one. The second she laced up her boots, the locker room chatter started, thick with sarcasm. "Oh, great, here comes another celebrity kid." 90 minutes later, that same young woman, Arissa LeBrock, was being carried out on a stretcher, her knee shredded, and her dream clinging to life support. The whispers didn't just turn into roars of, "I told you so." They became a deafening chorus of dismissal. But the agonizing injury wasn't the end of her story. It was merely the prologue to one of the most vicious, most improbable comebacks women's wrestling has ever witnessed. Because when Steven Seagal's daughter finally stepped back through those ropes, this time not in a glitzy WWE facility, but at a tiny, sweat-soaked indie hall in Texas, she didn't just show up, she arrived like a mortar shell, and the entire professional wrestling business felt the blast. This is the untold story of how the industry's punchline became its most legitimate threat. This is how the joke started punching back. WWE loves a celebrity cameo. It's their bread and butter. So, when Arissa LeBrock, the daughter of action movie icon Steven Seagal and supermodel Kelly LeBrock, asked for a tryout, you could almost hear the collective groan. Backstage, a cynical veteran muttered to anyone who would listen, "She's nothing but a publicity stunt." She certainly had the pedigree for Hollywood. She had magazine covers, reality TV clips, and a dad whose on-screen persona was built around breaking wrists. What she emphatically didn't have was a single moment of in-ring experience. For WWE, that usually means a hard pass. Yet, there was something about her. Years of dedicated Brazilian jiu-jitsu training gave her a brown belt level of ground control. Plus, her imposing 5'9" frame just screamed, "Future striker." Scouts, ever on the hunt for raw talent, saw a blank canvas with incredible potential. Against some internal resistance, they invited her to Orlando for a 3-day evaluation. Day 1, she impressed. Day 2? That's when things got interesting. She wasn't just good, she was dominant. During a drill, she planted a male trainee with a hip throw so crisp that the hallway outside the practice ring erupted in gasps. She wasn't just a pretty face, she had legitimate power. Then came day 3. A simple drop-down drill, something thousands of trainees do. But for Arissa, it was the moment everything changed. Her knee buckled with a sickening pop that echoed through the quiet gym. ACL gone. Just like that. The tryout, her dream, her shot. It all ended with her being wheeled out of the performance center, scrolling through Twitter comments already laughing at her failure. The whispers, which had briefly turned to admiration, now solidified into a resounding, "See? We told you so." She wasn't cut out for this. She flew home, her leg in a brace, her pride in tatters. WWE's internal report was cold and clinical. Not cleared, future unclear. Translation: thanks for the clicks, but we're moving on. For Arissa, it felt like the ultimate dismissal. Here's what most fans, caught up in the sensational headlines, never learned. Doctors delivered a brutal truth. Reconstructive surgery might end her athletic career entirely. 9 months minimum for rehab, one surgeon stated flatly, and even then, no guarantees. Another suggested, maybe find a nice desk job, Arissa? Her Hollywood pals chimed in too. Just do branded perfume ads, Arissa. You'll make 7 figures, forget all about that wrestling nonsense, it's too dangerous. The path of least resistance was clear. Most people would have taken it. But Arissa LeBrock isn't most people. Instead of booking a photo shoot, she booked a 900-square-foot Airbnb outside Austin, Texas. This tiny rental was 10 minutes from a place called the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, the antithesis of the polished WWE Performance Center. Here, the ropes were frayed, and the only camera in sight was for brutal, honest trainee critique. She knocked on Dustin Rhodes' door. Yes, that Dustin Rhodes, the legendary Goldust. Dustin, with years of wisdom, sized her up, taking in her determined gaze and still-healing knee. He didn't offer sympathy. He just said, with a gravelly voice, "Show up tomorrow at 6. If you're late, you're done." This was her make-or-break moment. And for the next 6 months, she was there. First one in, last one to leave. While casual fans assumed she'd quietly quit, Arissa was grinding. She was learning to bridge on a surgically repaired knee, pushing past the pain. She was melding her high-level BJJ with her dad's trademark Aikido joint attacks, creating a grappling hybrid that looked less like wrestling and more like catch wrestling in hyperdrive. Dustin, not easily impressed, later told a vlogger, his eyes wide with admiration, "She's got that rare, nasty streak. You feel it when she grabs a wrist." I knew right then and there the business hadn't seen anything like her yet. They weren't ready. Quick pause, because if you're enjoying this underdog journey, smash that like button right now. Let YouTube know that compelling wrestling stories like Arissa's matter. And drop a comment below. Who would you book as Arissa's first main roster opponent? Becky Lynch for the Mind Games? Rhea Ripley for a powerhouse clash? Your fantasy booking ideas are gold, so don't hold back. Fast forward to March 2023. An overbooked, sweltering VFW hall in Cedar Park, Texas. There's no fancy entrance ramp, just a single flickering spotlight cutting through the dusty air. Arissa's music is a raw guitar riff, recorded by a local band paid in pizza. This isn't about glamour, it's about proving something. She walks out, not with a celebrity swagger, but with the quiet intensity of a predator. Black trunks, hair braided tight, eyes locked forward. This isn't the model from the magazine covers. This is a warrior. Across the ring stands an indie veteran, there to give Arissa a proper baptism by fire. The bell rings. Arissa feigns a tie-up, then in a blink, spins into a standing wrist lock. She snaps a textbook kotegaishi, her dad's signature Aikido wrist lock, transitioning seamlessly into a leg trap suplex. The crowd gasps. 1 minute in, and she's already deviated wildly from the standard rookie script. The finish comes off a top rope arm drag that spikes her opponent shoulder first into the canvas. Arissa grapevines the arm, yanks backward, and the ref's hand slaps the mat. The small crowd erupts. Ringside, Dustin Rhodes actually tears up. Part pride, part relief. In under 6 minutes, Arissa LeBrock didn't just win a match. She rewrote her narrative from nepotism experiment to technical assassin. Raw footage hit Twitter almost immediately. Within 12 hours, that grainy phone video had cracked 500,000 views. The same WWE audience that once mocked her started asking, "Wait a minute, she can actually go?" Fast forward again to August 2025. Monday Night Raw. The women's division is stacked, but always craving a fresh star. A new, heavy guitar theme explodes through the speakers and the Titantron flashes, Arissa LeBrock. The crowd's reaction is split. Half are asking, "Who is this?" The other half, who saw the indie footage, are screaming, "Holy crap, she's back." She strides to the ring and gives a deep, respectful bow. Her opponent, NXT call-up Zoe Stark, tough as nails and tasked with testing this rookie. They circle each other. Arissa lunges, ducks a roundhouse kick from Stark, traps the leg, and sweeps the ankle. It's classic Aikido, using Stark's own momentum against her. Stark lands hard. The commentator loses his mind. That's not diva wrestling, that's devastation. And just like that, the joke's on us. The match lasts 7 minutes. The highlight reel is a whirlwind, a flying knee that dents the turnbuckle, a dragon screw leg whip, and then the pièce de résistance, a rear naked choke converted into a pinning cradle for the 3 count. The arena absolutely erupts. The fans are roaring, a chant breaking out, "She's real! She's real!" Backstage, producers are huddled, their faces a mixture of disbelief and excitement. Michael Cole later admits on a podcast he had to rip up his call sheet mid-match because nothing on it covered what he was seeing. Within 24 hours, YouTube clips of her debut cleared 1 million views. The wrestling media couldn't decide on a nickname, the Submission Sniper, or the Heir Apparent Assassin. Either way, the message was clear. The joke was dead. The reverberations of that Raw debut were felt immediately. Triple H reportedly rewatched the match 3 times that night before texting Dustin Rhodes, "Why didn't you tell me she was this good?" Dustin simply replied, "You had to see it live, boss." Meanwhile, her dad, Steven Seagal, broke his usual silence. Caught by a TMZ reporter, his response trended worldwide. "I break arms in movies. My baby breaks them for real now. I'm beyond proud." The Hollywood sign was now a legitimate combatant. Of course, no one in wrestling escapes critiques. A Reddit thread claimed her strikes still needed WWE main roster seasoning. Others argued her style was too real for a family-friendly product. But even the most cynical critics conceded one truth. She was no vanity project. This wasn't a celebrity-playing wrestler. Arissa LeBrock was a bona fide toolbox of submissions and strikes who had earned her spot through brutal dedication. The girl they laughed out of the Performance Center in 2019 just forced a multi-billion-dollar industry to respect what a Kotagaishi is. From being carried out on a stretcher to embarking on a streak of dominance, Arissa LeBrock weaponized every ounce of doubt. She didn't just rehab her knee, she rebuilt herself, fusing Hollywood genetics with old-school dojo discipline. WWE thought she was a punchline. Turns out she was the cliffhanger no one saw coming. What is next for Arissa LeBrock? A championship run, perhaps sooner than anyone expects. One thing is certain. Nobody is chuckling at Arissa LeBrock now. They're too busy watching, anticipating her next move. Tell us below, does Arissa deserve a title shot within a year of her main roster debut? Hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible stories, and always remember, every joke in wrestling eventually has a receipt. Arissa LeBrock just cashed hers in.